All right, welcome everybody to the Down and Dirty at 1:30 Central. This is Vishan Borish from Team Tough, and I'm so glad you're here today. It is Memorial Day for those of us here in the U.S., and it's a special day because for Memorial Day, we're remembering those who have been in war and have fought and gave the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom, and that is their lives. And I thought today would be a really good day for us to talk about freedom and what it takes to really become free. For most of us to become free, it requires us to have the money, the finances in order to do so. So if you're with me here today and you want to learn some tips, techniques, tricks, and to go through this exercise that I'm going to guide you through today on freedom, then you're in the right spot. All right, we're going to teach you how you can become financially free. All right, sound good? So let me check in and see who is live with me today. If any of you are out there. Oh, I see Rich is out there. Good to see you as always. He's my most loyal live watcher, so I'm always glad to see you, Rich. And I'm sure some others will hop on here. I know it is a holiday, so it may be kind of a quiet crowd today. But for those of you watching the recording, I hope that you get a lot of value out of today. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, etc., you can log in down below. You'll see there's a chat window. Go ahead, log in, say that you were here, that you watched the recording. That way I know that you're getting value from this. If you're watching this on YouTube, I recommend that you go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube, but also subscribe to my mailing list, because I'll send out alerts and important topics and value-based information so that you can benefit even more from the Team Tough community. In order to subscribe, you'll see a link in YouTube that is right there in the description. You can click on that to subscribe to our email newsletter. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So I do not have a actual presentation as far as a slideshow today. I wanted to just talk to you, face to face, and share with you this exercise. All right. Sorry, my nose is itchy. It's allergy season here. Let me get a drink of water. So yeah, so today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to guide you through an exercise that can help you realize why you're in the place that you are in your financial life. Okay, because if you're watching this today, you probably aren't satisfied with where you are financially. If you already are financially free, then you probably don't need to be watching this right now. You should probably be teaching this with me, okay? So for those of you that are looking for help on how to become financially free, I'm going to get a little Sigmund Freud on you today, because it really goes back to your childhood as to your thoughts on money and your ability to hold on to money or to lose money very quickly. All right, and I have gone through this exercise that I'm going to guide you through today, and it really opened things up for me. When I went through it, I was in Bali, Indonesia. I went to a very special week-long event. It was a mastermind course in which we really got to the root of who we are and why our financial state was not where we wanted it to be. And it was mind-opening for me to go through this exercise, and it really changed my whole focus on my life and on my business. And I can happily say that I am on the path now to financial freedom. I wasn't before, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't. I was making some pretty huge mistakes in the way I dealt with money. I'm not going to say I'm completely financially free, but I do feel that I'm really getting close every day. And so I want to share with you this exercise because I think it will be of value to you, just like it was of value to me. So what I'd like you to do right now is just take a deep breath, let it out. And I want you to just really go deep into your heart, because I'm going to ask you some questions in which I'd like you to write them down, write your answers down on a piece of paper. So you will go ahead, get a piece of paper, get a pen, because today's hangout is more of an interactive conversation that you and I are having. And I want you to imagine that you're sitting here in my office with me and my dogs. I don't know if you can see them. They're back there on the couch, a little chair that they have. And those are my office mates, but you're sitting here in my office and we're just having this conversation on where we want to go with your financial freedom. So get your paper ready. I'll wait for just a minute. Get your pen, make sure you've got a good pen that writes easily, and let's begin. Okay, hopefully you've got some paper now and you're getting ready to go here. So here's what we're gonna do, okay? Let me just kind of start off with this, is that I'm gonna tell you a story first. I think that would be a really great way to get going, and that is, you know, a lot of people go through life not really knowing why they aren't in a good place financially. And they really just, they're stuck. You may have had a really good job, you may have go from job to job, you may have a business and you're just not quite making ends meet, and you don't know what it is that's causing you to not be successful. So let me tell you the story. I'm going to tell you a couple of them, actually. This one is about a woman named Catherine, not her real name. But she remembers when she and her twin sister were 7 years old, and they both asked for bikes on their birthday. And she already knew how to ride one. She wanted to, tie a balloon on the back and make it sound like a motorcycle as she sped through the neighborhood. That's what all her friends had done with their bikes. But her parents made a huge deal out of it. They said that bikes were too expensive, and maybe she and her sister could just share a bike. Well, she didn't like that idea very much. She wanted her own bike and told her parents that. And they told her in a very loud voice that she was being selfish, and that all that she cared about was what she wanted, and that she didn't deserve a bike at all. Okay, I don't know if this brings up any memories for any of you. She didn't know back then, when she was 7, that bikes were expensive. Everyone else in her neighborhood had a bike, and she just wanted a bike too. Well, who knew? Well, here's what happened. On the morning of her birthday, there in the driveway were 2 bikes. All right, one with pink streamers on it and one with white, for her and her twin sister. And she was so excited that she immediately put a blue balloon on the back tire, and off she went riding her bike. But as she rounded the first corner around the block, she fell on the ground with the bike on top of her, and she tried to get up, but her arm wouldn't move. So basically, she broke her arm, and she screamed for her mom for help. But for the next 6 weeks, she had this big cast on her arm. And all she could think of was, this is what happens when you get something you're not supposed to have. And so after her arm healed, she never rode a bike again. And that one experience for Catherine made her believe later on, when she became an adult, that she did not deserve to have anything she wanted. And because of that, she never really had the money or she never really spent the money. She never had the money. She never saved the money, and she was afraid to purchase things for herself. She didn't know why she felt so paralyzed when it came time to spend money, until she went back and really dug deep into her childhood as to why she had these money blocks. And that's really what I'm going to be going through with you today, is that if you don't have financial freedom today, it's because you haven't worked through these money blocks that are preventing you from achieving financial freedom, right? So I'm going to tell one more story, and then we'll get into the lesson. Okay. So here's another one. This is from not his real name. This is a person named Andy. Okay. When Andy was about 8 years old, his mother gave him $10 to go to the bakery to buy bread. His grandparents and cousins were all going to come to lunch, and this was a big deal. They're going to have a get together. It was the first time that Andy had been given permission or the responsibility to walk down to the bakery by himself and go across the street by himself and to be given $10. That was an enormous amount of money to Andy when he was 10. And mom told him how much the bread would probably cost and told him to keep the change in his pocket and bring that home. Well, anyhow, as he was walking, we got to the bakery. He had lost the $10 bill. He retraced his steps. He searched and searched, never could find it. Somehow it had fallen out of his pocket. So, he couldn't buy the bread. So he was late getting home. He got there and his grandparents and his cousins and everybody were already there when he got back. And everyone was in the kitchen. And, everybody, was looking at him when he walked in, and his mom immediately asked, where's the bread, Andy? Well, obviously he had to admit in front of everyone that he lost the money. So the room was quiet after he said that, and nobody said anything. They were all just looking at him. And he didn't get punished because everybody pretty much knew how badly he felt, and there wasn't anything anyone could do. So they had lunch with the bread basket on the table, but without the bread. From that one experience, Andy was so overwhelmed by the loss that he never wanted to be in control of money after that, because he always felt like he was going to lose it somehow, right? So that led him to always take the safe route. He wasn't into taking any risk with money. He didn't invest properly. And so he was being blocked by that one experience from his childhood. All right. So I hope that these stories kind of help you to realize how your thoughts on money are shaped at a very young age, and they really can affect you into adulthood if you don't know where they stem from and how to rewrite your story to realize, okay, that was something that happened from the past. And I can change that if I refocus my energy elsewhere. Okay, so now with those two stories shared with you, I'd like to get into the question. So hopefully you have your notebook now and you've got a pen to write with. So here's the first question. What were the best presents that you recall receiving when you were a child? The best presents, the best gifts that you recall receiving when you were a child. Okay, and if you want to write the question down and answer it later, that's fine too. But what I recommend you do is, if you can just think of like one or two right off the bat, just write those down, because this is going to help you to see where your money blockages are happening. All right. Okay. Here's the second one. Did your friends have any things that you didn't? Were there some things that you definitely noticed as a child that your friends had that you didn't have? And if so, maybe list a few of those things that you wish you had and they had that you didn't have. List that down. All right, I'll give you a second to write those down. All right. The next one is, did your mother have to work when other parents didn't, when other moms didn't? Or did she not have to work when other moms did? What was your home life like? Go ahead and write that down. And you might even write, how did that make you feel? If she worked or she didn't work, did you feel differently from the other kids in your neighborhood? Okay. All right. If I'm going too fast, let me know. If you're in the live chat, just write down. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one. All right. Here's the next question. Did you get money every time you went to see your grandparents? Did they give you money, or did they not give you money? Or did you even have a relationship with your grandparents? And how did that make you feel? Okay. You're looking for a pattern here. As we go through these questions, and I do have quite a few of them here, so I hope you bear with me. But what you're looking for when you answer these is a pattern to what is causing your money blockages. All right. So that was, did your grandparents give you money every time you went to go see them? All right, let's go to the next one. Were you ashamed to bring your friends to your house? Did you live in an area where you were ashamed that to bring your friends to your house? Maybe you grew up in an underprivileged family where a lot of your friends had money but you didn't, Or maybe it was the opposite. Maybe you grew up and you were very privileged, but most of your friends didn't have money. And so you were ashamed to bring them there because you felt it might make them feel bad. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. What were the special treats of your childhood? What are some of the things that you used to get from your parents? Did you have to be good in order to earn them? Did they give you money? Did they take you places? What was considered a special treat for you that you rarely got? Something that you rarely got, but when you did, you knew that you'd done something really well. Okay. And again, if some of these don't come to you right off the bat, feel free to just jot down some notes to the question, and then you can come back and answer that later. And that was, what are the special treats of your childhood? Okay, let's go to the next one then. Did you feel like your friends had nicer clothes than you did? Okay, did you feel like your friends had nicer clothes than you did? Yes or no? And then along the same lines, did your friends' parents have more expensive cars than you did? Yes or no? Okay, that one shouldn't be too difficult to answer. All right, let's go to the next one. Did you feel ashamed of having far more than your friends did? Did you feel ashamed of having far more than your friends did? And this would especially be true if you had a more affluent family than the friends that were in your neighborhood. All right, the next one, did you hear your parents fight about money? Did your parents fight about money? Was this something you heard that shaped the way that you think about money? And what did they fight about? Give you a chance to answer those. Okay. All right, the next one is, did you receive only money as gifts? For instance, maybe you only received money instead of a personal touch of a hand-picked present, and that affected the way you look at money. You see it as a gift rather than, something that you deserve. So, think about that. How did it make you feel when you got money as a gift versus something that was hand-picked? All right, let's go to the next one. Did your mother close the windows when she bought something because your father would yell and she didn't want the neighbors to hear? All right, I've heard of a lot of families that are like that. My family wasn't, but I know that there are many families where a lot of times the moms in the house like to do the shopping, and the dads in the house, depending on when you grew up, the dads usually made more money. And so when you went out as a woman and bought something, the father often would get upset about it because you spent too much. Was that something common in your home, or was it the reverse? Maybe the mom in your house made more money than the dad, and so the mom got upset when the dad spent money. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. Was shopping for school clothes a ritual that you looked forward to every year? Was it something that you got to do, or was it something that was kind of a challenge because the money was tight and you worried about it? What was it like when it came time for getting clothes and supplies for school? All right. I'm going to go ahead and move on here. Did you steal from piggy banks, your parents' wallets, or the dime store? At any point during your childhood, did you get caught for stealing? And, if so, how did that make you feel? Why did you do it? Can you think back as to why you did it? Was it because you didn't have money and you needed some, or was it because there was some other reason that you did that, to maybe make yourself feel the same as your friends? Maybe your friends did it. Maybe you ran with the wrong crowd. What caused you to steal? Or maybe you feel ashamed about it to this day, and because of that, you don't feel deserving of money. Okay, I hope you are able to answer these and write that down. Okay, let's go to the next one, and that is, do you remember the very first wallet that you ever had? Was it given to you as a gift, or did you buy it yourself? If it was given to you, was it given to you empty, or did it have some money in it? What was that like? Did you feel that you deserved that wallet? Did you feel because it had money in it, did you feel like you were really wealthy? Did you feel that you were very poor because you didn't have any money to put into it? How did that wallet make you feel? Okay, let's go to the next one. Did you get less of an allowance than your friends or siblings? If you did receive an allowance, did you feel like you got less than people in your neighborhood, or maybe you even got less than one of your siblings? And then the question is, with your allowance, did you have to work for it, or was it given to you as a right? You've reached a certain age, so we're going to start giving you an allowance. These are the questions. Did you get less than allowance than your friends? Did you have to work for it, or was it given to you as a right or privilege? And then finally, what did you do with your allowance? Did you tend to spend all of it, or did you save it? How did you handle money at a young age? I'll give you a minute or so here to write those answers down. Okay, all right, let's go to the next one, and that's, what is the biggest amount of money that you ever saw as a child? What's the most you ever saw? Was it a $100 bill? Was it a $20 bill? Was it a 50? Maybe you saw, your parents or somebody that had multiple $100 bills in their wallet. What was it? What was the most amount of money that you ever saw somebody carry as a child? Or maybe it was a check. Maybe you saw a check that somebody had written, and it was the most you had ever seen, if you can recall back. Okay, let's go to the next one. Did you get money for birthdays? Was that common in your family? Did you often get money, or were you given gift cards, or was money not something that was given? Maybe it was always handpicked gifts. And if you did get money, did somebody tell you what to do with it, or was it your money that you could do with it however you wanted? All right, let's go to the next one. Did your friends go on better vacations than you? And did you always feel like they got to go places that you didn't? Or maybe you went on better vacations than they did. What was that like? Or did you ever get to go on a vacation? Maybe you had a family that just didn't have the money to do that, or didn't like to go on vacations, or couldn't for whatever reason. What was that like, and how that make you feel? All right, let's go to the last question here, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this. The last question is, what did your parents tell you about money that made you feel good? What was it about money that, you were like, oh yeah, I can do this? Or, what was it that made you feel good? And along those same lines, what was it that your parents told you about money that made you feel bad? Maybe they were disappointed in how you handled money. Maybe maybe they thought that only the rich people had money and that you guys didn't. Or maybe they thought that it was a sign of your education on how much money you made or you didn't make. What were some of the things, the dialogue that you had at the dinner table, perhaps, with your parents? I'll give you a little bit longer to answer that one. All right, let's go to the next part, and that is, now that you've answered these questions, and maybe there's a few that you still need to think about, and that's okay. You can go back and do that. If you want to, and you didn't get all the questions, feel free to comment in the chat box below and tell me that you would like to receive those, and then put your email in there, and I'll send it to you. Or you can send me a private message on Facebook, and you can find me Vishaan Borich on Facebook, and I'll be happy to, you can send your email that way so it's not public if you send it in a private message, and then I'll be happy to send you a list of these questions, okay? So now, now after you answer them, the next thing is to really think about your past. So what I did after I did this exercise was I kind of read through my answers, and then I closed my eyes for a moment, and I thought about, the scene in my past. What was it like? And try to put in as many senses as you can. Was someone baking cookies? Were you holding a wet bathing suit? What was happening in this scene, this money-making scene, that makes you feel sad to this day? Was somebody laughing at you, or crying, arguing in the next room? With your child's eyes, and now with your adult eyes that you have today, try to remember everything you can about that scene in your life that shaped how you feel today about money. And the very first step, this may open the floodgates to many emotions for you. I've done this exercise in a room with a bunch of people, and there was a lot of people that were crying in the room that I was in, because it was very emotional to realize that this was something that shaped the way that you handle money today. So even those who grew up in the wealthiest now just look at who they All right, hopefully you guys can hear me again. I dropped off and I don't know if I lost internet there or what, but I'm back on now. If I'm gonna check the chat window down below and make sure you guys can still hear me. All right, if I could just get a thumbs up or something. All right, cool, thanks Rich, appreciate you. Okay, so I don't know where I dropped off, so I'll just reread my notes here that I had for the last paragraph. And that is, think about what you wrote down, the answers to those questions, and write down everything with the memory that you can. Try to find something in there that still gives you a little sadness today, because that's usually the key to some unresolved childhood memory that you need to reevaluate from your adult eyes. Okay, you'll be amazed at what you remember actually when you really go deep and start thinking back to your childhood. And remember, we are all powerless as children, and money looms on most of us in a very powerful way. So as we grow up, we claim our power in one way after another by taking on jobs, families, commitments, and responsibilities. Yet we don't grow up to claim our financial power until we look money directly in the eye, face our fears, and claim that power back. Each of our memories are very different, but they lead us to a similar place. Places that are riddled with self-doubt, unworthiness, insecurity, and fear. And fear often paralyzes us, and we begin to believe that we can't do something because we did this as a child and it caused pain, so we don't want to do it as an adult. So really, before you can ever become financially free, you have to overcome that block that you have from your childhood that's causing you to believe you're not worthy, you're not capable. Maybe you have a fear of losing money. Maybe somebody in your family believes that you can't ever make more money than them because your family has never made more money than a certain amount. These are all different dialogues that you may have been told as a child or you've overheard as a child, and it's causing you to never reach the level that you want to reach in your finances because you believe that. Your beliefs will paralyze you. So once you rewrite that dialogue, when you rewrite that dialogue, it's going to help you overcome that so that you can get to the next level in your financial freedom. So put those fears to rest. You know, don't self-sabotage yourself from things that you believed as a child, because you're an adult now. So take that inner child from, you know, your past when it came to money and talk to them in a way where you know something better today. You know, and for me, it helped me to kind of write a letter to my childhood self. And this was one of the exercises we did after we went through these questions, was we wrote a letter to ourselves, basically saying, look, I know this was hard for you. I know this financial, you know, this money talk that you've overheard, or this, you know, maybe you lost the $10 like Andy did. Maybe this is really affecting you today, but I want you to know that's not how it is, and that you have the capability to be anyone you want to be, and that you are not a creature of habit from your family. You can break that mold. You can become the first millionaire, the first billionaire in your family, but you have to overcome that childhood limitation that's preventing you from moving forward. All right. I hope this has helped you. I know it helped me. And if you got value from this exercise, please let me know. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. And if you get any breakthroughs from this, you know, share them, because this could help somebody else in the future. And I hope that you share that with others. You know, anytime you get value from something, the biggest gift that you can give is to share that with somebody else and change their life too. All right. So I want to end today's presentation with 10 steps. Okay, these are 10 keys, actually 10 keys to financial freedom. All right, this is something I can't claim it as my own. This is something that I learned by reading. And for those of you that know me, you know how important reading is. In fact, I was reading some stats. I wrote them down, and 88% of rich or wealthy people read daily. 88% of the wealthy read daily, and 67% of the rich watch less than 1 hour of TV. And then here's the other contrast to that. The percentage of poor people who read is only 2%. Only 2% of poor people actually read. And these stats come from a book called Rich Habits, The Daily Success Habits of Wealthy Individuals, and Thomas Corley. C-O-R-L-E-Y. That's a great book, by the way. So, you know, one of the things that also came out of that book was a degree, like a college degree, gets your foot in the door, but being a continual scholar separates the average from rich. By reading, you can become much more wealthy than somebody who maybe even has higher education than you, but doesn't read. I thought that was really fascinating. All right, so these 10 keys to financial freedom is actually from Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If you haven't read that book, it's another incredible book. I've read many of his books, and I've gotten so much out of it. And I wanted to share these with you because they're like a mantra that I use in my own life in order to reach financial freedom, everyday steps that I take in my life. So the first one, this is the first key, and that's accept full responsibility. Accept full responsibility. And what that means is, you know, every choice that you make in your life has its own consequences. So some cause damage to your wealth. You have to accept responsibility for where you are today. Stop blaming other people. Don't blame your parents for, you know, not teaching you about wealth. Don't blame your education. Don't blame your spouse. You know, take responsibility for yourself. And realize that no matter what circumstance that you've been in or you've gotten through, that you have the capability to be wealthy. And it's all when you're accepting that responsibility that you evaluate all of your financial decisions, you know, your purchases, your expenses, and look at it from the eyes of, will this help me in the long term? Will the things that I'm spending money on today help me in my life and help me reach my financial goals? If not going to help you reach your goals in some way, then why are you buying that? Why are you spending money on that? Okay, I look at everything as, is this going to help me? Is this going to, number one, is it providing for my basic needs? Obviously, you have to have food, you have to have water, clean water, you have to have shelter, and you have to have clothing. But you don't necessarily, when you're starting out, have to have the best of all of those. You just have to have those in your life to live. Anything above those things is extra. That's a luxury. And if you're looking to earn financial freedom in your life, perhaps you should reevaluate how you're spending your money so that you can better invest that for your financial freedom. And think about short-term pain for long-term gain. It's really important. All right, so that was number one, accepting responsibility. The second step or key is to control your spending. And we live in a very consumer-driven world. Most of us are, we're compelled by advertising and marketing to spend our money. Everybody wants a piece of our money, right? But your spending habits are one of the main reasons why you aren't able to secure a financial freedom future. You've got to start tracking your expenses and think twice before you make major purchases. Like one of the things that my family and I do is before we make a big purchase, and a big purchase for us is anything that's over $500. So if it's over, then we discuss it. My husband and I will discuss it, and we will wait a week before we actually make that purchase. All right, and that's our own choice. That's one of the things we do. And I found that by doing that, we don't make we don't make mistakes as often with our financial purchases. And this might be hard for you to do at first, especially if you're prone to uncontrollable spending. But once you learn how to manage your expenses, moving towards achieving financial freedom will be much easier. Okay, so number two is controlling your spending. All right, let's go to number three. Have a budget. Okay, having a budget is crucial. Creating a budget is basically helping you with your living situation. You want to live within certain limitations so that you can achieve financial freedom and maintain your goals. A budget's going to give you the input that you need to manage your income and control your expenses. So in short, a budget gives you a sense of accountability. If you want to secure personal finances, then a budget will provide you with the tools to achieve that. So one of the things that I recommend you do is know how much it costs for you to just maintain your life, the current lifestyle that you live per month. Like, how much is that? Is it, a few $1,000s a month? Is it $10,000 more a month? What does it cost you to maintain your lifestyle today? And are there any things that you can cut out of that in order to reduce your monthly expense? And once you know that, your budget doesn't have to be so tight. This is my own personal belief. It doesn't say this in Robert's book, but I believe that your budget should not be so tight that you're afraid to spend money. Okay, I don't like strict budgets. I think they actually limit you from the joy that is life. But I also know that it's important to have a budget and understand, what my spending is for the month, and keep it within that range, within a few $100s. Because if I start going, on a spending spree, that's going to throw the budget off, and it's going to eliminate my ability to save for my future and save for my children's future. So that's one of the things, is know where you stand and know where your income is coming in and what's going out. And if you don't know where your money is going to, then you need to get that under control. One of the quickest ways, if you're like completely out of control, is if you know that you've got a lot of expenses coming in on a credit card or automatically bank account, start a new bank account, shut down the other one, or cut up that credit card and open up a new one. Because what will happen is anything will have to be reset again, and then you can start keeping track of where it is. Now that would be an extreme situation. I helped a friend who was in that situation, and that really helped them get everything back under control again. All right, let's go to the next one, and this is number 4, and that's pay yourself first. Okay, I did a hangout not too long ago, actually it's probably been 6 months ago, on financial freedom, and it was similar to this, but it was a step-by-step plan to getting your finances under control and helping save for your future. And if you're interested in that, send me a private message and I'll send you the link to that Hangout. A really specific way that you can manage your finances in your bank account. And this all ties back to paying yourself first. So all of us, if we really try, you can live on 90% of whatever it is you're bringing in on a monthly basis. All right. So here's what I do. Every single month, any amount of money that comes in for the month, I will take 10% of whatever that is, even if it's only like $10. I'll take $1 of that out. I'll take 10% of that and I put it in an envelope. Okay. And then when I have enough in there, you know, obviously if it's only $1, that's not really going to help. When I have like, you know, $100 or more in the envelope, then what I do is I take that to the bank and I have 4 separate bank accounts, savings accounts. This is separate from my personal checking account. And those 4 accounts, I divide that $100 up 4 ways, so $25 in each of those accounts. And those savings accounts are slotted for certain things. I'm going to go into full detail on that because you can watch the other Hangout. But what happened is by paying yourself first, and that's what that 10% is, you're taking that right off the top, you're building a savings so that you can never have money. And when you have an emergency come up, you'll have money. It doesn't take long for that to compound. Most of us, you don't even notice it when you start taking 10% off the top. And you will start to build wealth. You'll get better control over your finances by doing that. So really, really good. And it's only when you save money today can you invest it tomorrow. And this will help ensure your financial freedom for the future. Okay, number 5, eliminate debt. Okay, debt is one of the leading causes of insecurity, financial insecurity in most people's lives. It consumes you. You know, if you've got a lot of debt, it'll stop you from pursuing your dreams, and it'll limit you from your life and from living. It deprives you of happiness. So being debt-free should be one of your unrelenting goals in life. You should commit yourself totally to getting there. So if you have a passion to be debt-free, then you're going to do what it takes to save the money and only buy things within your means. And by doing that, you're already a huge leap and bound above most people in the world. Okay, most people, especially in America, have a lot of debt. You know, one of the biggest would be a house payment, a mortgage, and then obviously cars would come close second, and any other toys. So if you can, get those things paid off, and any credit card debt, of course, really commit yourself to that. You're going to feel so much better, and literally that right there can help you achieve financial freedom more than anything, is getting debt free. All right. Right now, the only debt that my family has is our house payment. Yeah, and we are working to pay our home. So all of our cars are completely paid off. The most recent one was paid for with cash. So, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying when you live within your means that you can do that. Okay. The next one, establish an emergency fund. Okay, this is a cash cushion that will support your living expenses for at least 3 months. And that's one of those 4 savings that I mentioned earlier. One of them is an emergency fund. And you want to build that up so that, if you ever have something major happen, like a health issue or an unforeseen expense, something happens and you have to take care of it, such as repairs, medical expenses, or other emergencies, you want to have that cushion so you don't feel so stressed out if something like that happens. This is essential to making sure that you don't resort to debt when these situations arise. So you want to make sure your living expenses are covered, and it's going to give you peace of mind. So one of the best ways to have a cash cushion is to set up an alternate bank account that just for your emergency fund, that it's not connected to anything else. You don't want to be able to, grab the checkbook and write checks fast. You want it to be separate so that nobody else can really touch it unless it's an emergency. All right, so that was number 6. Number 7, never stop learning. You know, educating yourself about finances regularly should be one of your top priorities. You know, there are so many ways to learn about finance. And in order to achieve financial freedom, you really need to understand finance and start learning about investment strategies and things like that. And take full responsibility for your financial life. When you do that, you're going to be able to make better decisions when you understand finances than somebody who doesn't. Like, for instance, maybe you've never had a budget, so you want to read up on how to set a home budget if that's what you're interested in. For, you know, how to invest in the stock market. You know, learn about that. Or maybe you just want to learn how to better control your finances. You know, read some of Robert Kiyosaki's books, because that really helped me as well. All right, number 8, have clear and concise financial goals. If you don't have a goal, you know, what number do you want to hit in order to achieve financial freedom? If you don't know that number, it's going to be very hard to work towards securing your financial freedom. You know, if you want to establish, and I'm looking at a lot of my notes if you see my eyes, but if you want to establish a big business, you've got to work by starting your own business, start your own company. Alternately, if you want to be an investor, you have to learn how to pick the right opportunities and grab them immediately when they're available. And it's only when you have your financial goals clear in your mind will you be able to recognize the true potential you know, that's out there. So having goals and working towards them is going to motivate you to the life that you've dreamed about. All right. Number 9. This one is one of my favorites. I'll just tell you right now. Have a network marketing business. Now, some of you are saying, what? I can't believe you're actually saying that. And for those of you that don't have it, but I'll tell you what, Robert Kiyosaki is a firm believer in network marketing, and I really like that about him. And here's why having a network marketing business is good, even if it's only one part of your business. Here's why it's good. Number 1, it has a low startup cost. You know, there's a very low startup cost setting up a network marketing company, you know, compared to a regular business. I know that like most businesses, you know, like a brick and mortar business, it's going to cost you upwards of $10,000. That's on the low end to start a brick and mortar business from scratch, or any business for that matter, from scratch. Whereas if you have a network marketing company, all the tools, everything's already in place, it's an advantage, because it's hard to start a big business without huge investments and time investment too. A network marketing company will give you the time that you need to build your business skills and transition from being a low-level employee to a high-paid business person. You have to look at network marketing not as the end game, but as a method to becoming a highly paid business person. It's a wonderful stepping stone, and if you do it right, it can be a passive income source that continues to pay you for your lifetime. So network marketing is one of the most perfect ways to secure your financial freedom. And it supplies you with residual income so you can make money while you sleep and travel. So the next time somebody asks you, why would I want to join a network marketing business, you can just share some of the things that I just shared with you. All right, the 10th way for financial freedom is to simplify your life. You know, life it can become very complicated if you let it. If you're chasing money and you're chasing your financial goals, you're going to get distracted from things that are more important in your life. So this is going to demotivate you, and you're going to get depressed. I mean, let's be honest. If you're always chasing the dollar, it becomes very depressing. There's more to life than money. Realize that. So it's essential that you simplify your life by freeing up your mind of all the clutter. So the key to financial freedom is very simple. It's very simple. Convert your regular earned income into passive income or portfolio income. If you don't know what those are, passive income is an income received on a regular basis with little effort required to maintain it. Okay, so this would be like network marketing, where you get a residual commission every month or every week. Okay, portfolio income is income from investments. So like, for instance, if you have stocks, it might be dividends that are paid out, interest, if you have bank accounts, royalties, if you have, you know, something like a music or, you know, digital income, or capital gains. So those are portfolio income. So with this in mind, it's very easy to achieve the goals you desire without giving up on things that you hold close to your heart. And you shouldn't be trading your chase for financial freedom with the things that you most love in your life. You should have a balance there, right? Especially if you have a family, if you have kids, you have a spouse. You don't want to spend all your time working and, you know, you're not spending enough time with your family and those that you love, because that's just going to make you depressed, or at least, you know, if you're not depressed, it's going to make those around joy being around you because you don't give them any attention, right? All right, so that pretty much sums it up. I think I'm right on the button as far as I like to keep these within an hour, and it looks like there's only 2 minutes left, even after our little digital internet glitch that we had. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope you got some value out of today. Most of all, I hope that you realize that freedom is a choice. If you want financial freedom, you just have to start making different choices. And if you can do that, then step by step, day by day, you will reach it. I'm a firm believer in that. And if you'd like to get connected with me, or whoever invited you to this call, reach out to me personally by clicking on the link below where you can join Team Tough, or someone that invited you to this call directly, and ask them, you know, that you would like to be a part of Team Tough. And they'll get you the information so you can get started. That's, I hope you have a great day and a wonderful Memorial Day if you're out there in the U.S. So we'll talk to you next week, every Monday at 1:30 Central for the Down and Dirty at 1:30. Take care. Bye.